This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1223 of Horse Tip Daily, your almost everyday morsel of helpful hints, useful facts, and practical techniques for horse folks. Brought to you today by Clarion Hotel Lexington. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is an excerpt from the Dressage Radio Show's Total Saddle Fit Trainer Tip of the Week. Say that 3 times fast. This one features JJ Tate with some great advice on making the most of riding at clinics. And we'll get right to our tip after this from the Clarion Hotel Lexington.
If you're coming to Kentucky Horse Park for the Rolex or any other event, the best way to complete your Rolex experience is to stay at the nearby Clarion Hotel, just 4 miles from the horse park. At the Clarion Hotel, your experience will include a great room featuring a Tempur-Pedic memory foam bed, flat screen TV, and in the morning, a full free hot breakfast with eggs, sausage, waffles, and other great breakfast items. The Clarion is a full-service hotel with easy access off of I-75 at exit 115, with plenty of parking for your truck and trailer. The Clarion Hotel is also pet-friendly, so you can always bring along your furry friends. Best of all, you don't have to leave the hotel to enjoy fantastic Kentucky-style food and drink. Cortland's Southern Kitchen offers innovative Southern fare and a casual atmosphere, or you can relax at the Sports Page Bourbon Bar and Grill, where you can give the bourbon sampler a try. It's a great way for you and your friends to discover which Kentucky spirit is your favorite. If you're coming to Rolex, you better get your reservation in early. 859-233-0512. That's 859-233-0512.
Well, we have JJ Tate back for our Total Saddle Fit Tip of the Week, Trainer Tip of the Week. JJ, thanks for staying on the show.
Thank you so much again for having me and asking me to participate.
Yeah, no, as always, we love having you. So what's your tip of the week for our listeners?
Well, like we said, keeping it with the theme of riding in clinics, I thought it would be a great idea to give my tip on how to have a successful clinic experience. And a couple of the things that really work for me is to, number one, always allow a lot of time to load the horse and get there in a time that won't make you nervous. Like, I don't really get very nervous, but the one thing that will kind of unsettle me is not having enough time. So I think, it's always, of course, that day that your horse decides, like, they maybe don't want to go on the trailer or something, you can't find something, or, So I always say, like, give an extra half an hour. You don't know about traffic, whatever. So I think first and foremost, you can control what time you arrive. And I think that's a big thing. Number two, I think it's also really important that you stick to your normal warm-up. I think you're the rider, and if you ride the horse, you are also the trainer. So I think it's important to also give that horse his best experience and give the trainer you're working with the best, idea of the horse and to give the best impression. You should really focus on what warm-up works for you. And I would get there early enough that you can incorporate, if you need to ride the horse long and low, if you need to do a little 2-point canter, if you need to walk for 20 minutes, whatever it is, I think it's important that you own that and you create that same situation when you go off property and ride a horse for a clinic or a lesson. That you set the horse up for success as much as you can. I definitely think you should always have extra equipment in the trailer just in case something breaks. But I do think, also being upfront with your new trainer or clinician. And I always tell my students the number one rule is that you should always go watch the clinician before you ride with the clinician, just so you have a sense
great
of,
one. Yes,
that the whole thing is going to connect with your system. It's great to get outside influence, and I encourage all my riders to go ride with other people. I usually go with them and watch. And as long as it's all under kind of the same umbrella, I think that's really important that you also decide before you take the horse there that it is under the same umbrella of training that you're doing, and that it's not going to be detrimental to the horse's health or mentality or training level, that you can really, have that kind of camaraderie within the system. Otherwise, it becomes kind of random events and like, oh, I rode with this person and they told me to ride really forward with the pole up. And then I went the next week and I rode with that person and they told me to stretch the horse only down, and then unless you have a really deep sense of what this horse needs, you can make an educated decision of like what you want to keep. But I do think it's important to always go watch the clinicians before you commit, just so you know what you're up for, what's going to probably happen. And again, be really upfront with the clinician of like, this is what my horse is great at. This is what my horse's weaknesses. This is what I would like to work on. But then also, I have a lot of people who come to ride with me in clinics and are like, well, I'd really like to work on the fine changes. And I'm like, you need to learn how to sit in the saddle, and sit on the horse correctly. So we're going to start there.
Learn to canter.
And you're probably going to be mad, but it's again, just like the clinic with Joe Hinneman, it always comes down to basics and correctness. So I think it's important to tell the clinician, what you've been working on and how you've been approaching it. And, if your horse needs a break, I think you also need to be honest with the trainer to say, hey, he's not super fit right now. I think just being upfront is just really helpful to everyone. And first and foremost, it's the best thing for the horse.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that that's so important because, again, you are always your horse's advocate. And I've seen it before where, the clinician's trying to get something through and maybe they just push it too far for the horse or the horse gets hurt or, something like that. So at the end of the day, you are the advocate. But I just loved how you said, do your homework before you go to the clinician. It's really... That's so important to do that. Don't go to someone. Philip has a great story about, and Phil, you can tell it, but basically about people that weren't prepared about going to a clinic that was going to have cavalettis in it, and they didn't know it, and so they were going to have to jump, but they weren't ready. I think that's
clinicians and teachers, we all have sort of a theme and some go-to exercises. If you can approach those a little bit before you actually go to the person, you're going to get a lot more out of it,
Absolutely.
But if they have to teach you a pattern and then you're supposed to work on it, you're going to use up your 45 minutes, whatever, really fast. And you're going to get not as much.
Totally. Oh my God, I agree. One of my students, she's going to ride with Charles DeComfy, my long-term mentor. He's coming this week. And so, a couple of days ago, she asked me, hey, do you have an extra book? I'd really love to read about his philosophy, and because she's new to our team, so of course she's new to Charles, and so she, borrows a book from me, one of the 5 or 7 that he's written, and she's going to do her homework, read about it, so that these new terms aren't like brand new information that she's never heard about. She can't go see a clinic before she's going to ride in it, but she knows because he's my mentor for so long that of course it's highly recommended and it's in our circle of training. But she went even a step further and borrowed a book from me to say, hey, I just want to get familiar with some of his patterns, what he's about, just so that again, she doesn't waste her money, she doesn't waste her time, she doesn't waste her horse's sweat, having to repeat the thing so many times.
Oh, I think that's beautiful.
Preparation.
Yes, that's preparation.
There's so
that's
much
great.
stuff on YouTube and stuff to watch, or it's
exactly.
out there,
There's
right?
so much information. Exactly. It's such a different time. Everything's on the internet. You can find out all kinds of things.
No, it's true. Well, and kudos to that student for doing, and she will get her money's worth because she'll know what she's sort of going to do and what's going to happen. So, and you'll, as her trainer, you'll be there as well. And I think that's just one other point I wanted to bring up really fast. I love that you said, if my student's going to go to a clinic, I'm going to try to be there. And I think that's so true. If your student's working with someone else, to be there and to watch, and it just as an instructor, it's a great thing because you can kind of step back, watch, get even new ideas or whatever it is, or, oh my gosh, I didn't think about that with that horse. So I think that was a great tip as well. Well, JJ, thank you so much. You are a busy lady. You've got a lecture going on at your barn right now, and you've jumped on the phone with us. So thank you so much. And how do our listeners find you online?
They can either friend me on my Facebook page at Team Tate Dressage, or they can visit our new website, www.team-tatedressage.com. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Well, there you have it. You can find links to today's guests as well as lots more tips at horsetipdaily.com. Make sure to have all of your favorite Horse Radio Network shows with you wherever you go by downloading the free app from your Android or iPhone. Just go to your App Store and search Horse Radio Network. You can also subscribe via iTunes. This is Coach Jen, and I'll be back again soon with another tip. So until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.